What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is War Dogs. War Dogs is a comedy drama war film that follows two friends in their mid-20s by the name of David, played by Miles Teller, and Ephraim, played by Jonah Hill, who work as arms dealers that supply weaponry, usually guns and ammunition, to the United States government. The film was directed by Todd Phillips and is based on a Rolling Stone article entitled The Stoner Arms Dealers, as well as a book entitled Arms and the Dudes, both written by Guy Lawson, that tells this true story in its entirety. So the film kicks off when Ephraim comes to David with a job opportunity where he explains to him that there is a lot of money to be made in the arms industry. There's government contracts just waiting to be scooped up where your job as an arms dealer would be to deliver guns and ammunition and other forms of weaponry to government officials all around the world. David eventually agrees and joins Ephraim, and the two eventually begin landing government contracts that change their lives as well as their friendship in interesting ways. They also have to overcome some seriously dangerous and exciting obstacles as well, but the rest of the movie is spent documenting the two friends' rise to prominence in the arms dealing industry and the difficult choices and sacrifices they have to make along the way. Okay, so personally, I had a really fun time with this movie. I wouldn't go as far as to say that it's a great movie, but I would say that it is a very fun movie, and I feel like I definitely got my money's worth. This film operates at a very breakneck pace that never really slows down ever. The plot moves along very quickly, and I felt like that really worked here because everything about this movie is fun and energetic and just in your face, and that means the plot should move quickly with little to no downtime for events that would likely differ from the overall tone. This movie is just under 2 hours long, and while there's not like shooting and chase scenes 24/7, there is at the very least drama present in almost every scene. I also feel like the story progressed really nicely as well. The plot flows from point to point and scene to scene very naturally and fluidly, all the while maintaining that fast pace. I will say though that the third act is not at all what you'd expect it to be if you knew nothing about this story coming in like me. The filmmakers try to drop you subtle hints as to how this thing is going to play out, so just keep an eye out for those in the early parts of this film because the third act may surprise you if not. And by surprise you, I mean that this movie in the third act differs a lot from what you see in the trailers. There's also a decent amount of comedy in this film as well. Jonah Hill is absolutely hilarious, and in my opinion this has to be one of his best acted roles to date because he stole this show for me. His character is super eccentric and just crazy. That's the only way I can describe Ephraim, but I think while he definitely can be an asshole in some situations, which you'll see, he's a very funny and lively character, so that makes him mostly likable. Miles Teller as David Pacus is also very well acted in this film. Just a heads up, he is this film's main character. You do get a lot of time with Jonah Hill's character as well, but in most cases you watch David's experience with these crazy arms deals, and of course him balancing his work life with his family life, aka his life with his girlfriend is. David is a very likable character though because he's relatable. He's having a tough time finding his place in this world, and he's struggling to make ends meet, so eventually he gets in over his head with this arms deal thing, and it sort of spirals all out of control for him. Iz, who's David's girlfriend, played by Ana de Armas, was also very well acted in this film. Iz really cares a lot about David, and the two have a lot of on-screen chemistry together, which makes the story that much more believable. Eventually she sees the path David is going down, and she tries to veer him back in the right direction. Bradley Cooper is also in this movie as Henry Gerard, a business associate of David and Ephraim's. He absolutely nailed this role, and he brought a ton to this movie in limited screen time. He's great in every role he does, but he shines once again in this movie. The dialogue in this film was also very well written as a whole. There's a decent amount of well-written jokes that landed very smoothly for me and had me laughing a pretty good amount. Not like rolling on the floor laughing, but enough to keep me satisfied. There's also a lot of very dramatic scenes where characters deliver lines that progress the story in very natural and exciting ways. There are some scenes and jokes and lines of dialogue in general that fell flat for me every now and then, but this didn't happen too frequently. Two other elements of this film that I really enjoyed were the editing and the music. The editing tells the story in a way that sort of foreshadows future events for you as a viewer, and then you'll get to see how those events came to be via general craziness and such. This is a very nice looking film from a technical standpoint, as all the shots are very well composed and lit. You know this film is technically sound when you don't notice the technical aspects of the film too frequently, and that's what this film offers. The soundtrack is also very solid in this movie. There's a lot of very interesting song choices for certain scenes that really had me laughing, and in other cases pumped up for the action to come. Take a look at the soundtrack because it's very solid overall. Okay, so two things I didn't like about this film. Firstly, the third act was definitely my least favorite because it starts to become more about the relationship of David and Ephraim rather than their actual business adventures, which is less exciting. There's also some events that happen in this act that sort of feel like they come out of nowhere with little to no explanation, so that was a little bit of a letdown as well. Another thing I didn't love about this movie was the family aspect with David and his girlfriend that seems sort of thrown in there because studio executives felt there needed to be some sort of love love or family drama subplot needed. I don't think this film needed it, or at least not as much of it, because at times it felt like we were spending too much time on this aspect of the story rather than the main and most exciting focus, the arms dealing business. I liked the acting and chemistry from Miles Teller and Ana de Armas more so than the family drama storyline itself. Okay, so overall I had a lot of fun with this movie. I thought it had a very fun, dramatic, and exciting story, good acting all around, strong comedy and overall dialogue, and unique cinematography, editing, and music. I also felt Act 3 was lesser in quality than the previous 2 acts, and the family drama subplot felt forced in some spots. I'm gonna give this film an 8.5 out of 10 and say that it's definitely worth a watch in theaters if you're looking for some good laughs and good fun. So did you guys see War Dogs yet? What did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if not, let me know whether you'd be interested in watching this film or not. And as always, if you like this video, click that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for much more content like this. I have a review of Ben-Hur coming out over the weekend, as well as Kumo and the Two Strings coming out early next week, so stay tuned for those. That's all for now though. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next review.